The moment your income starts to rise, something strange happens. Before the money can change your life, it changes what you think your life is supposed to look like. You get a little ahead, and almost on reflex, you start spending to show it. A better car, a nicer watch, and a dress that sounds good out loud. The version of you that looks like it's winning. For a moment, it makes complete sense. You worked harder, you earned more, so of course your life should start to look different. It feels like a reward, like proof that you finally made it. But watch what actually happens. The money that could have moved you forward ends up going toward looking like you've already arrived. You think it's buying you freedom? A lot of the time, it's quietly buying the appearance of it instead. So today I'll show you 7 things people building wealth refuse to pay for. None of them are about being cheap. Every one of them is a refusal to pay the same hidden bill. And once you see it, you'll notice it everywhere, in other people, and if you're honest, in yourself. That is the hidden bill. Call it the arrival tax. It's the money you spend to look like you've made it before your life can actually support it, and it feeds itself. Because every dollar you spend trying to prove you've made it is a dollar that can't help you actually get there. So this isn't a video about refusing nice things. It's about refusing to spend the money that could build the real thing on something that only looks like it. The people who actually get there learn to live without the signal for longer than everyone else. And this tax rarely arrives as one big, obvious decision. It shows up in small moments, a purchase here, a monthly payment there, a room you walk into where you suddenly feel like you need to keep up. The first one is the easiest to spot. It's sitting in parking lots everywhere. You've stood next to someone whose things clearly cost more than yours and felt that small flicker. Maybe they're further ahead than you. A lot of what looks like wealth is just a premium. Extra money paid so an object can tell a story about its owner. Cars are the clearest example. A badge starts speaking before you do, but the badge says nothing about what's behind it. 2 people can drive the same expensive car. One owns it outright. The other is stretched thin every month just to hold on to the image of it. From the outside, both cars look identical. That's the point. You're paying for what it says about you. The look of wealth and wealth itself were never the same purchase. A lot of the time, they pull in opposite directions. Buying the signal once is one thing. The expensive version is when you can't wait to afford it. So you start renting the image month after month. The enemy isn't the object or even the debt. It's the identity you're putting on a payment plan. It almost always arrives dressed as a reward. You worked hard, so you finance the upgrade to treat yourself. Then the treat becomes a monthly reminder that the person in the brochure isn't quite you yet. They'd rather wait than finance a status signal their life can't support yet. Because a financed identity isn't yours. You're just leasing the costume. But not every version of this comes with a payment plan. Sometimes it arrives as an invitation. A dinner, a trip, a group chat filling up while you quietly work out whether you can afford to say yes. An Alley survey found that young adults spend around $250 a month on social activities, and many have skipped events to save money. The fear isn't, I want this, it's, what will they think if I can't keep up? The test is simple. Would saying no make you feel behind in front of people actually in the room? If yes, that's a cover charge. They'll let one specific table believe they're behind, rather than pay that charge every month for a standard they never chose. So far, the pressure has come from people you can actually see. But the most expensive proof you buy isn't for them at all. It's for a version of yourself. This is buying for the person you're certain you're about to become, not the person you are today. Home fitness equipment is the clearest example. You buy the serious gear for the disciplined person you'll be by spring. Then it sits in the corner. The machine was never the product. The person it let you imagine becoming was. It hides in bigger things too. The professional tool for the hobby you'll get serious about any week now. The wardrobe for the job you don't have yet. They don't let a purchase do the work of becoming that person. The future self has to be built. It can't be bought in advance. And once you start buying for the person you hope to become, it's a short step to buying for the person you hope everyone else sees. Some purchases aren't made for the person living the experience. They're made for the people watching it. It's paying extra for a life that looks, at a glance, like success. something to show, post, or know other people would notice. The cover charge was about a real table. This is a blurry audience. Followers, acquaintances, a future partner, even the narrator in your own head. And we see this everywhere except in the mirror. We catch it instantly in other people and almost never in ourselves. So the test here is quieter. Would the purchase still feel as valuable if nobody could ever see it, notice it, or even imagine it? If the answer is no, part of what you're paying for is an audience tax. You're not just buying the experience, you're buying the broadcast too. They don't pay extra for the broadcast. The trip, the meal, the thing either earns its price by being lived or it doesn't get bought. Buying the proof for other people is expensive. Buying it for yourself is worse. But the last two cost the most. Not money, but the two things you can never earn back. Some people spend money to look successful. Others spend their best hours trying to look financially responsible. That second one is the trap most people never even see because it wears the mask of discipline. Picture the whole Saturday burned driving across town to save $11. You do it the slow, draining way, purely to dodge a small expense. This isn't saying every small saving is a mistake. When money is tight, the cheaper option can be rational. The trap is when saving tiny amounts becomes the work itself. At a certain point, even thrift can become a performance. Not for other people, for yourself, for the version of you that needs to feel perfectly responsible. They don't refuse to save $11. They refuse to make saving $11 their whole financial identity. They protect the energy that builds the future instead of spending it to feel careful. And underneath that performance is the same fear we've been circling this whole time, the fear of looking behind. The last version of the tax is what happens when you stop being willing to sit with that feeling at all. You try to buy your way past it. It's the reward taken before it's earned. The upgrade that feels like progress, the shortcut that sells you the feeling of being ahead. It doesn't move you forward. It just turns down the discomfort for an afternoon. That's impatience wearing the disguise of a treat. They let themselves sit in that feeling for a while. They can stand looking for a season, like they haven't gotten anywhere. They refuse to pay to fast forward to a finish line they haven't actually reached. So step back and look at all 7 together. A status premium, a financed identity, a cover charge, a future self, an audience, a time tax, a fast forward button. They look like 7 different purchases. They're not. They're 7 faces of one feeling, the impatience to be seen as arrived before you are. That's the whole arrival tax. The same bill, paid in 7 different currencies. The people who actually get there aren't more disciplined or more frugal. They've just made peace with one uncomfortable thing. Looking for a while like they haven't made it. They'd rather actually arrive than be seen arriving. And those turn out to be 2 completely different outcomes. Because the more convincingly you perform the destination, the longer it takes to actually get there. So be honest with me in the comments. Of the 7, which one do you catch yourself paying? And if you want to see where you actually stand right now, watch the one on the 7 levels of wealth next. I'll see you there.